This is the Biz Call.
Question 1. What's your name?
My name is Sean DeClercq.
Question 2. What's the name of your business?
I'm the founder and CEO of KickFurther.com.
Question 3. Describe your business in a few sentences.
KickFurther is the world's only inventory crowdfunding marketplace, and on our marketplace we match businesses that need inventory to continue growing with individuals who are interested in providing funding for inventory and earning a share of the profit when that inventory sells.
Interesting. Question 4. What's your revenue model?
Pretty simple. We earn a 5% success fee when the inventory successfully funds for our business.
So is the 5% charged to the buyer, the seller? Who gets dinged for the charge?
Yeah, so interestingly, kind of neither. So if you imagine a business's cost of goods is 95 cents, we fund the inventory at $1, and that is the new updated cost of goods sold. So it's kind of like the business ends up paying for that success fee once they sell through the inventory, but they don't really pay for it up front.
Okay, question 5. Are you brick and mortar, online, or both?
We are a strictly online marketplace, but we have 2 offices, one in Buffalo, New York, and one in Boulder, Colorado.
And just to be clear, your brick and mortar would not be holding that inventory of which you speak, right?
No, we don't run any warehouses. We work with cloud-based solutions.
Okay. Question 6. How did you, and this is my favorite one, how did you decide to get into this business?
Yeah, it's, I told the story before, but, it's like essentially I was running a product business very similar to the entrepreneurs we work with today, and I encountered the inventory cash flow issue close and personal, and it really put a pretty significant bottleneck on my ability to grow. So, we looked around in market. There was really no good one-size-fits-all inventory funding solution. And so we said, why don't we make it?
Great. Question 7. Why would customers choose you over your competition?
I think the reason customers choose KickFurther over our competition is that as most of our competition just focuses on funding revenue in kind of a general sense, and that means we're able to look at things that are more specific for physical product companies. And so that means we have a bit more of a stringent onboarding process, but because of that, we're able to deliver a best-in-class experience for the customers that make it through that onboarding process.
Okay, now I want to throw you a curveball. Question 7A, not even on the list, but I think it's important that our listeners hear this. It seems like your business is a distant relative of factoring almost, but probably isn't. And just to make sure there's no confusion, how does this differ from factoring?
Yeah, the key difference with factoring is factoring acts as a discount on your receivable. So you need to produce inventory, ship it to a retailer like Target, and only once Target has the inventory, give you a receivable, which you can then take to an accounts receivable factor, and they'll buy it from you at a discount, let's say 10%, right? So imagine you fund your $50,000 cost of goods, you deliver it to Target, they pay you $100,000, you take that note to a factor, and they'll give you $90,000 for the $100,000 Target payment, and then they'll go and get paid by Target long term. So do I
understand correctly that nobody really could factor anything unless they had the receivables to produce, and that's where you come in?
Exactly. So if you're talking about accounts receivables factoring, you have to have a receivable to factor. There's other groups that provide like work in production finance. So, there's enough solutions for small and medium businesses out there. The key difference is we are specific to physical goods. So we fund the inventory, we're distribution channel agnostic, and we operate as an increase on your cost of goods. So if you think about that example with the business owner that has a $50,000 cost and a $100,000 sale, a 10% cost on KickFurther represents a $5,000 cost to him. He's spending $55,000 on his cost of goods now, whereas a 10% discount from a factor is a 10% discount on the $100,000, which represents a $10,000 cash cost. So 10% for the business owners that we work with, 10% increase on cost of goods is significantly more beneficial than a 10% decrement on their revenue.
Okay, so listeners, listen to question 7 about 3 or 4 times, and then you'll definitely understand it. Question 8, if you have one, what's the exit strategy or long-term goal for the company?
We're looking at taking the company public. That's the goal.
Excellent. Question 9, what are you doing to increase your business?
We actually have a lot of really interesting initiatives that are kind of in the works right now. So, a lot of your standard marketing, we've identified the channels that are working for us. We're investing more resources into those channels. We actively work on establishing and experimenting with new top-of-funnel growth channels. That's kind of part of our DNA. And we also find that we're working on some other, what I would call customer success initiatives. So we're building a mobile app to solve a pain point for our entrepreneurs. We are also looking at building an accelerator program that is specific to physical product companies that have the goal of exiting within 3 to 5 years. And we have a really interesting white label project that we expect will go live within a month from now, where banks will be able to offer KickFurther's inventory funding to their clients through a white labeled experience.
Interesting. So just for our more to the ground type listeners, is there any emphasis on advertising, marketing, traditional PR, anything like that?
So we are working with a PR group today and it's one of our first forays into PR. Traditionally as an entrepreneur, it's always the really tough question with PR, how do you, get attribution or how do you measure the success of a press campaign or something like that. So we just recently, within the last 6 months engaged, and so it's a channel, that's one of the channels that's in the experimentation phase right now.
Okay, because that leads right into question 10. Of all of these things, how do you measure your marketing success?
Yeah, the nice thing is with a lot of these other channels, it's not that hard to measure, right? So it's the cost of what the channel costs you, right, to experiment or run the test or get some initial results. And then it's just a measurement of those results down to how much revenue they end up generating for you, right? So we look at, for us, it's a lead to MQL to SQL to closed won funnel. So we look at 4 different conversion points within the funnel, and we measure the efficacy of different marketing channels and see, are these messages working better to get us clicks, or are these landing pages converting better? So we look and try to optimize conversion at each of those moments, right? Lead to MQL to SQL to closed won. And the other thing we do is we have tight grip on our unit economics. So we understand that certain channels, when you look at the closed won cost, if they don't allow for us to earn profit, we do not consider that a marketing success. So there has to be an appropriate budget around those conversion metrics as well.
Great. Okay, so question 11. It can be a yes or no. Are you profitable?
We are cash flow negative by choice right now.
That works. Question 12. How many employees do you have?
We have 28 employees.
Okay. Question 13 and 14, 2 sides of the same coin. Question 13. What's been the best decision you've made so far?
The best decision I've made was to simply, I would say, start. I think a lot of entrepreneurs can spend a lot of time in the thinking, and I think most of the value you get is in the doing. So, we built the car while it was, built the car while we were driving it, and I think that, just really getting started and moving forward and adopting a lean methodology from the beginning, and then measuring and being very rigorous about having a transparent company meetings and keeping our entire organization aligned on company-wide goals was really great. So, getting started with a strong management paradigm from the very beginning, I think was the best decision I've made. The worst decision I've made is, back in 2015, I got some really good advice that I didn't take, kind of like the Alanis Morissette song. And I think, I look back on it, we would be further along now. We'd have more growth and, we'd have more data, and we'd be smarter had I taken some good advice early on. And that advice was, to create a heuristic from the very beginning. And it took us about 2 years to really create a heuristic that worked well for our business.
Great. Okay, so question 15, is there anything that you'd like to add? You can free ball this, but I'm sure that 15 questions doesn't cover this. So knock yourself out. Is there anything you'd like to add that you think our listeners should hear?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'd just like to communicate in these interviews is that, I was an entrepreneur, right? So this came up earlier that this was very much a business designed to fit the needs of product companies and product entrepreneurs, because I experienced their pain myself. And so there's no cost, no diligence fee to try out the KickFurther platform. And if you qualify for KickFurther, you pay nothing unless you are successfully funded. So this was really designed to be very entrepreneur-friendly, to support growing product companies where we can. And, I think that's a really key part of our DNA and part of our brand that I like to mention.
I would imagine so. So essentially what you're saying that is, if you qualify as a KickFurther client, there's no risk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no cost to the business unless they're funded. So yeah, it's about as good of a deal as we can give them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Okay, so last thing, before I let you go, real slowly, real clearly, give me the name of the business and the URL where people can get more information.
The name of the business is KickFurther. You can find us on kickfurther.com. And we have a $10 user referral fee. I guess it's kind of pretty standard. So feel free to reach out for a $10 credit to try out the platform, and we will get that up for you.
If you'd like to plug your business on the BizCall podcast, simply visit thebizcall.com and fill out the form. If you become a guest, you'll receive a free lifetime membership to the BizCall discussion and networking list. If you're too shy, you can still join the BizCall list at thebizcall.com.